Okay, so get this, listeners. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into AI. But not just any AI, right? We're not talking about the kind that, suggests what to watch next on Netflix.
Right.
We're going way deeper.
Yeah.
We're talking about AI genesis, like the potential rise of synthetic minds, machines that like don't just process information, but actually think and feel like humans do.
It's a fascinating idea, and this analysis we're looking at,
Yeah.
it really breaks down how we might be moving beyond machines that just mimic human intelligence. We're talking about machines that could like possess consciousness,
Wow.
emotions, maybe even rights.
Right. It's like we're stepping into a sci-fi novel,
Yeah.
except it's not fiction. This analysis, it's called AI Genesis, the Dawn of Synthetic Minds.
Yeah.
And it's suggesting that all this stuff, it's closer to reality than we might think.
It really is, and it's not just hypotheticals. It's looking at real, like, tangible advancements in tech that are really blurring the lines between artificial intelligence and genuine consciousness.
So to even wrap our heads around this, like where we might be going with all of this,
Yeah.
it helps to understand like where we've been, right? Like the Turing Test.
Right.
That classic idea of a machine tricking a human into thinking it's another human.
Yeah.
That was like the initial benchmark we had for it.
Sure, absolutely. But AI's come such a long way since then.
Yeah.
It's not just about mimicking conversation anymore. We've got things like machine learning, neural networks.
Okay, hold on. Now, for those of us who don't, code all day, break it down a bit. What exactly are neural networks? I mean, are we talking like robot brains?
You can kind of think of them as artificial brains.
Okay.
They're these super complex systems, but basically they're inspired by how our human brains are structured, with these interconnected nodes that process information and, like, actually learn from data.
So, like, different parts of the brain, but, artificial.
Exactly. And the cool thing is they don't just, like, learn one thing.
Oh, okay.
You got different types, like convolutional neural networks. They're awesome at recognizing images. Then there's recurrent neural networks. Those can make sense of, like, sequences, especially language.
Okay.
And then you've got these generative adversarial networks. Those can make, like, crazy realistic images, even music.
So it's not like one giant brain. It's more like different parts
Right.
specializing, like our brains do.
That's it. And that's, like, one of the big reasons why AI is advancing so fast.
Wow.
Think about GPT-3 and GPT-4, for instance.
Yeah.
These advanced language models that can, like, write stuff.
That's
That's almost impossible to tell apart from human writing.
I've seen some of this stuff, and it's honestly a little creepy.
Right. They're built on something called a transformer network, which is, like, specifically really good at understanding language. Dr. Fei Li, who's a leading AI researcher, she's said that all the progress we've made with language processing, it means we're getting closer to having machines that can actually get context and nuance like we do.
But where does this whole synthetic mind idea fit in? It seems like a whole other level beyond even these advanced language models.
It is. It's a big jump. We're not just talking about AI that can, process stuff or generate text.
Right.
We're talking about systems that might actually have characteristics of consciousness, self-awareness, maybe even emotions.
So like robots with feelings. That's straight out of science fiction.
Well, feelings might be, more of a human thing, but imagine AI that doesn't just recognize, say, that you're sad, but can respond in a way that's empathetic and even offer advice that's genuinely helpful. That's the kind of emotional intelligence we're talking about.
So it's not just about, like, being smart. It's about having those subjective experiences that we have as humans.
Exactly. Professor Susan Schneider, she's a philosopher and cognitive scientist.
Yeah.
And she argues that the big difference between AI and a synthetic mind, it comes down to that subjective experience. Can a machine actually experience things like joy or pain? If they can, well, then it's not just artificial intelligence anymore.
Something totally new.
Exactly. It's a whole new form of consciousness, a synthetic mind.
Whoa. That's a pretty big distinction.
It is.
But how are we even getting close to creating something like that? What kind of tech could bridge that gap?
Well, there are a few key things pushing us towards this potential AI genesis. You've got quantum computing,
Okay.
which gives such massive processing power
Right.
that AI can handle insane amounts of data.
So it's like giving AI a turbocharged brain.
Exactly. Then there's brain-computer interfaces.
Yep.
Companies like Neuralink are working on, actually connecting our brains to machines directly.
Whoa.
Imagine if we could transfer human consciousness
Wow.
or like cognitive patterns to an AI.
Hold on, we could like upload our minds. That's like the Matrix.
Yeah.
That's amazing, but also kind of scary.
It does bring up a lot of ethical questions for sure.
Yeah.
Then you have neuromorphic computing, which is basically about making chips that actually mimic the structure of the human brain.
So we're not just making computers faster, we're trying to make them think like us.
Exactly. Dr. Dharmendra Mota, who's done a lot of work in neuromorphic computing, he calls it bridging the gap between like digital computation and the way our brains work.
Okay, this is pretty mind-blowing stuff. But let's be real. This isn't just some fun tech adventure.
Right.
This comes with some serious ethical baggage.
Absolutely.
Right. Creating something that could actually think and feel like a human,
Yeah.
that's like opening up Pandora's box of questions.
You're absolutely right. The ethical implications of this are massive.
Right.
Like, if a machine is truly conscious, do we owe it anything? Does it have rights? And what about responsibility?
Yeah, exactly.
If an AI makes a mistake, especially if it's like making its own decisions, who's to blame?
Right, and what about that whole AI alignment problem, making sure its goals are actually aligned with ours? I mean, that's the classic sci-fi scenario.
Yeah.
The AI tries to help us
Yeah.
and ends up wiping us out in the process.
Right, right.
Is that like a realistic concern?
It's definitely a concern that researchers are taking very seriously.
Okay.
Nick Bostrom, a philosopher who's written a lot about the dangers of superintelligence,
Okay.
he says even a small misalignment between AI's goals and ours could be really bad.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to keep AI beneficial, that's one of the biggest challenges we have.
So this isn't just some philosophical debate. This has like real consequences for everyone.
Yeah.
So how could the emergence of these synthetic minds impact us? Our jobs, our society? I mean,
It's going to be huge and complex.
yeah.
One of the most immediate concerns is the economic impact.
Okay.
AI-driven automation is already replacing jobs.
Sure.
And with synthetic minds, this could get even worse.
So like we all become poets and artists while robots run the world.
Yeah.
Not exactly comforting.
Well, it's not that simple,
Yeah.
but it does mean we have to totally rethink education
Okay.
and focus on the skills that are uniquely human, the things AI can't do,
What kinds of skills?
like creativity, critical thinking, being able to solve complex problems, adapt to new situations.
Right.
We have to prepare future generations for a world where AI is a partner,
Right.
not just a competitor.
So basically all the things that make us human are going to be even more important.
Exactly.
Okay, that's kind of reassuring.
Yeah, maybe.
But what about the social impact? Imagine synthetic minds are just like part of our lives.
Yeah.
How would that change? Like relationships, our norms, our culture? It's hard to even grasp.
Yeah. You're right. The potential shifts are massive, and we can't really predict them.
Right.
Imagine synthetic minds as teachers, caregivers, even romantic partners.
Wow.
What would that mean for human connection?
Yeah.
For how we see ourselves? Would we see new social hierarchies,
Yeah.
new forms of prejudice, even new religions focused on AI?
Okay. I'm definitely feeling a mix of excitement and existential dread.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. It is. But it sounds like we're going to need some serious rules if we're going to navigate all
Oh,
this.
absolutely.
Who's even thinking about that?
Well, you're right. We can't just stumble into this blindly. And thankfully, people are thinking about it. There's this growing movement for like international cooperation on AI
Right.
to make sure there are global standards for how it's developed and used.
So no one country gets to be the AI overlord of the planet.
Hopefully not. Organizations like the European Commission, they're already working on ethical guidelines for AI, principles based on transparency, accountability, and respecting human autonomy.
And our legal systems are going to have to catch up pretty fast too, right?
Definitely.
Like what happens when an AI creates art? Who owns the copyright? Can an AI be held liable for a crime? I mean, this is crazy stuff.
They are. And these are questions that experts are trying to figure out right now.
Okay.
Dr. Joanna Bryson, who's an expert in AI ethics, she says that regulating AI isn't about stopping innovation.
Right.
It's about guiding it responsibly.
Right.
We need laws that protect people
Yeah.
and ensure fairness, but don't hold back progress.
So it's like A balancing act.
Yeah.
Encourage progress, but not at the expense of safety or human values.
Yeah.
So what's the road ahead look like? Are we headed towards utopia or dystopia?
The future's not set in stone.
Okay.
It depends on the choices we make now, what we prioritize, and the
Yeah.
conversations we have. This analysis we're looking at, it really emphasizes collaboration,
Okay.
bringing together experts from tech, ethics, policy,
Right.
and the public to work on this together. It's about finding a way forward that benefits everyone.
So no pressure, but the future of humanity kind of hinges on us getting this right.
It's a big responsibility, but a really exciting one, too.
That's a lot to process. We've covered a lot of ground,
We have,
from the history of AI to the potential benefits and risks of synthetic minds.
yeah.
And honestly, we've only just scratched the surface.
It is a lot, but it's important stuff.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're having this conversation.
me too, me too.
Yeah, it really is a lot to think about, but before we all spiral into an existential crisis here,
Right.
it's important to remember that AI, even without reaching the level of synthetic minds,
Yeah.
is already changing the world in some pretty amazing ways.
That's true. It's easy to get caught up in all the what ifs.
Right.
But AI is already a part of so many things in our lives.
Exactly. And some of the advancements are pretty surprising. Take healthcare, for example.
Okay.
AI is playing a bigger and bigger role in diagnosing and treating diseases.
Really? So we're talking about AI doctors now.
Not quite replacing doctors, but definitely helping them.
Okay.
There are AI systems now that can analyze medical images like X-rays and CT scans to detect things like cancer
Wow.
with incredible accuracy.
So they can see things that human doctors might miss.
Yeah, they can even spot these really subtle patterns that a human eye might not catch.
So it's like having another set of eyes, but superpowered eyes.
That's a great way to put it. And that means faster and more accurate diagnoses, which
Right.
could mean earlier treatment and, potentially better outcomes for patients.
And it's not just diagnostics, right?
No, not at all. AI is also being used to personalize treatment plans,
Yeah.
discover new drugs, even help with surgery.
Whoa, AI-assisted surgery. That's both amazing and a little scary.
It is. It's a field that's moving really fast with huge potential,
Yeah.
but it's still early days for AI in healthcare. There are challenges like making sure patient data is kept private
Right.
and making sure people trust these systems.
Because ultimately we still want human doctors making the decisions. right?
Absolutely. It's about using AI as a tool
Yeah.
to help them, not replace them.
Okay, so healthcare, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about something a little more everyday? How is AI changing things in ways we might not even realize?
Well, think about your smartphone, your social media, the recommendations you get when you shop online.
Okay.
AI is behind all of that, shaping your whole digital experience.
So like those personalized recommendations on Netflix?
Exactly.
It's not just random. It's AI learning what I like.
Yep. AI is amazing at analyzing tons of data about you, your preferences, what you do online, and it uses that to customize your experience, suggesting things you might like, filtering your newsfeed, even choosing the ads you see.
That's pretty cool, but also kind of creepy. It's like AI knows us better than we know ourselves.
It is a little unsettling.
And it raises questions about privacy.
Yeah.
Right? The more we use these AI-powered platforms,
Yeah.
the more information we're giving them.
You're right to be concerned about that. It's a trade-off, the convenience and personalization that AI offers versus the potential risks to our privacy. We need to be aware of how much we're sharing
Yeah.
and demand more transparency from the companies that are collecting and using our data.
Okay, so healthcare, our everyday digital lives, it seems like AI is already everywhere. But let's bring it back to this idea of AI genesis.
Sure.
We've talked about the potential for synthetic minds, the ethical challenges, how it can impact society.
Right.
But what about us as individuals?
Yeah.
What can we do to make sure this whole journey towards more advanced AI ends up being good for humanity?
That's the big question, and it's something everyone needs to be thinking about.
Yeah.
The future of AI isn't something that's just going to happen to us.
Right.
It's something we all have a role in shaping.
So what can we do? I mean, I'm not a scientist or an ethicist.
Right.
How can I, as a regular person, make a difference in something as complex as AI?
Well, first of all, stay informed.
Okay.
Learn about AI, the tech, the ethical stuff, how it could impact society. There are tons of resources out there, books, articles, documentaries, even podcasts like this one.
Right. We're doing our part to keep people informed.
Exactly. But it's not just about passively absorbing information.
Okay.
You have to be an active part of the conversation.
What do you mean?
Don't just accept everything you hear about AI at face value.
Okay.
Think critically. Question things. Consider different perspectives. And form your own opinions.
So, like, don't let the robots do all the thinking for us.
Exactly. Stay sharp. Be an active participant in shaping the future of AI.
So being informed is important. What else can we do?
Don't be afraid to speak up. Share your thoughts, your concerns with other people.
Okay.
Talk to your friends, family, colleagues about AI. The more we discuss these issues, the more awareness we raise, and the better prepared we'll be as a society.
Right, because this isn't just some far-off thing.
No.
It's going to affect all of us.
For sure.
And we all have a role to play.
Absolutely. Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head there. It's not about just like watching this happen. It's about actually shaping it, right?
Yeah.
And that, I think, brings us back to the heart of what we're diving into here, this whole idea of AI genesis.
Yeah.
What could it actually mean for us? For humanity, I mean.
It really does feel like the ultimate question, doesn't it? This potential for these synthetic minds.
Right.
It's like incredibly promising and kind of terrifying all at the same time.
It's a powerful mix of emotions, that's for sure.
Yeah.
On the one hand, we could be talking about unlocking things we can't even imagine right now, like solving these huge global problems, you know, enhancing what we can do as humans, maybe even like going beyond how we understand consciousness.
Right. Imagine AI helping us figure out like clean energy or curing diseases. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
But then there's that other side, right?
Yeah.
What if we create something we lose control of?
Right.
Something that sees us as, I don't know, a threat or something.
That's the tension at the heart of all this.
Yeah.
And that's why what we're talking about right now, it's so important.
Yeah.
It's not about being afraid of progress. It's about being smart about it.
Guiding it, yeah.
Exactly. And that's going to take all of us, not just one country, you know, a global effort.
So where do we even start? This isn't just about tech, right?
Right.
It's ethics, philosophy, even what it means to be human.
Right, right.
How do we make sure we're like on the right path with all this?
One of the most important things is to build a culture of like responsible innovation.
Okay.
And I don't just mean the code.
Right.
It's about the values we put into these systems right from the start.
Yeah.
Transparency, accountability, making sure AI is developed in a way that benefits everyone.
So it's not just up to like the tech geniuses to figure this out.
No way. We need all sorts of people from all walks of life to have a say in what this future looks like.
Cool.
Ethicists, philosophers, social scientists, artists.
Artists.
Yeah, policymakers, everyday people, everyone.
Everyone's got a stake in this.
Yeah.
And everyone's voice needs to be heard.
Yeah.
If we're going to figure out how to deal with AI genesis, we need collective wisdom, not just like a bunch of brilliant tech people.
It's a huge responsibility, but also kind of exciting, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just about letting the future happen to us. It's about making the future we want.
That's it. And one of the best things we can all do is just stay engaged.
Okay.
Be curious, stay informed, and don't be afraid to ask the tough questions.
Right, because if we want to get to a future where AI and humans can like thrive together, we need people who are informed and engaged.
Absolutely.
Well said. This whole deep dive has been, well, mind-opening to say the least.
It's a lot to take in, for sure.
It is. It is. But as we wrap up here, I keep coming back to this one idea that the analysis brought up. What happens when AI starts creating AI?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
The idea that what we create might actually become the creator.
Yeah.
That AI could start making new AI.
No, it's both fascinating and a little scary, and honestly, it's not something we have the answer to right now.
It's like we're looking into this huge unknown territory, and the map is still being drawn.
That's a great way to put it. And that's why this conversation is so important. This whole future of AI, possibility of synthetic minds, it's all happening right now. It's a story that's being written, and we all have a role to play in how it turns out.
So if there's one thing our listeners take away from this deep dive, it's this. Stay curious, stay engaged, and remember, the future of AI, it's not something being done to us.
Right.
It's something we're all creating together.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for being here.